Hello, it's me again. I had an interesting evening and I figured I would vlog about it and discuss kind of what my panic attacks look like. Well, I guess it's more of an anxiety attack. Um, so I have been visiting my best friend and her family, and I was supposed to go home this evening, and I had a lot of things to do for work tomorrow, like first thing in the morning. So I was already stressed about that, which was putting me on edge because I wasn't going to get home until 11:30, and then I was going to have to wake up at 5 a.m. to be on time for work. So I was already pushing it, but so my flight gets canceled, and I'm in the car with my best friend and her family. She has 2 children, and her husband was driving. So for me, I have anxiety very badly sometimes. I am on medication for it, but I'm on a new medication, so I'm on the lowest dose. So still kind of waiting to see if it's gonna help. But so I have this thing, if I am alone, it usually advances into a full-blown panic attack. The hyperventilating, the crying. Sometimes I will rock myself, like not back and forth, but side to side. I have to do a lot of deep breathing. I try to remember to pray, but I'm usually too overwhelmed. So it's just deep breathing, and sometimes walking, like pacing will help, or if I can go outside, like if it's not the middle of the night or something, I take a walk. Sometimes that helps. Another thing that used to help is eating, but I can't do that anymore with my weight loss surgery. So, but that is only if I am alone. That, like, I will just kind of let it go to the height and wait for it to pass. But if I am not alone, I feel like I can't do that because it would be embarrassing. Sorry, it's been a long day. So typically what I will do is my anxiety begins to manifest as anger. I get very testy. I get very quiet. I don't really want anyone talking to me because I can barely think, I can barely breathe. And it's all of the physical things that I would normally allow myself to do if I was home alone or in a private space. All of them are just sitting there, like almost on my shoulders. And so it's just this huge weight. And so that's what happened. I was in the car. I didn't want to scare the kids. I didn't want my best friend or her husband worrying. So I was just very quiet. But every time someone said something to me, I was like, what? I'm fine. Because it's just like my natural go-to is anger if I can't be panicky. So when we decided, because they live so far from the airport and the flight that I got rebooked on is so early, we decided that I would stay here in a hotel, which is where I'm at now. So that was also another debacle. And then on top of that, we were all hungry. So it was just a mess. So I got to the hotel. I realized I left something in their car. I called her because I figured they hadn't left yet. So she brought my item up to my room and just kind of took a look around the room. And then, we were hugging goodbye, and she asked me something, and I was like, I don't, and she was like, oh, you need to go to bed, and I was like, no, I'm not physically tired, but I am mentally exhausted, because it only, it is actually more exhausting to hold it in than it is to let it out. Like, you let it out and work your way through it and it's over in like 10 minutes. But holding it in is much longer. And so when I stepped into the hotel room, I felt this weight off of my shoulder. Like, I'm alone now. I can do what I want. The moment had passed, so I was not anxious anymore about it. Like, everything that I was worried about was resolved. I was able to get a hotel. They have a shuttle. They'll take me to the airport. My ride that was supposed to pick me up is still able to pick me up in the morning. Thank goodness. Thank you, Jonna. And I called my boss, which that was also very nerve-wracking because there was a little friction over me taking so many days off in the first place, and now it's like, surprise, I can't be there the whole day tomorrow. Like, I'm gonna be a couple hours late, and that thing you signed me up to do at first thing in the morning I cannot do. But she was nice about it. So but I did have to cancel a very important meeting. I feel really bad about it. But it's a thing. There's bad weather in Detroit and there's nothing I could do to change that. So like I said, the anxiousness has passed. I have accepted it. There is a plan in place to resolve it in the morning. But yeah, I feel like I just tried to climb Mount Everest though. And I can, like, it's definitely not a physical exhaustion. I didn't do much today other than pack and help my niece with her homework. But it's just like this exhaustion, this fatigue that kind of takes over. And it's more like I have zero desire to do anything else. Like, I'm going to go to bed early because I have to wake up early. But yeah, so I don't know. Tell me what your panic attacks are like, or your anxiety attacks. Are they different when you're alone? Are they different when you're with people? Are you able to hold it together in certain settings? And I've had anxiety since I was diagnosed at 17, but I'm pretty sure I've had it since I was about 10. So I've been dealing with, and I'm almost 37 now, so I've been dealing with this for about 20 years. So I think because I've always had to work to support myself, and just learning to deal with that, and there are just certain things in my life that I do that I would never normally do, but they are requirements for things I choose to be involved in. So that has helped a little bit with learning how to control them, like have a anxiety attack versus a panic attack. But that's me. I also like to be in control of everything. So yeah, let me know in the comments, how do yours manifest? And are you able to kind of control them if you're around people? Or if you can't, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. Some people have far greater anxiety than mine. I would say I have kind of your run-of-the-mill anxiety mixed with severe social anxiety. So that's probably the bigger of my issues. But yeah, that's it. See you guys later.